4 o'clock hour of the program now. Bumper to bumper. We are going the distance today until 6:30 this very evening. We are keeping an eye on Milan Cortina, where, of course, the U.S. men's Olympic hockey team is resting between periods 2 and 3, nursing a 5-0 lead. I believe Jack Hughes has 2 goals in this game thus far, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're right, yeah.
By the way, Quinn Hughes, 1 goal, 6 assists thus far in the tournament. And, of course, the U.S. will take on Canada. They had to come back from a 2-goal deficit to stun Finland in regulation, right? They scored late, very late, after a controversial penalty called on the Finns. And so Canada lives for another day. They're there, and we just have to meet them, and we are in great position against Slovakia as the third period is about to begin. How about this trade proposal? I'm wondering if you'll think about this long and hard.
I'm listening. Yeah.
It's from Flim Flam.
Okay.
Dan, you said the Raiders have lots of needs. Would you offer Jefferson?
No.
McCarthy, Turner, and pick 18, and the quarterback whisperer for the number 1 overall pick, Heisman Doza?
No.
Minus the whisperer, he writes, that should have been the offer for May/Daniels 2 years ago. I couldn't manifest it then, but maybe this year. That'd be an off. I think Flim Flam's trying to have a little bit of fun there. I think he's going to be a really good quarterback, especially if he's got good people around him. I do. And I don't really think we're thinking that ambitiously, and I don't believe we are ready yet to move on on Jefferson. But I got to tell you something. And this isn't an indictment of Justin Jefferson, but it's been said over and over. It's the one position where you are utterly dependent on who you're playing with. And if you're not playing with much more than pedestrian QBs or worse, you become relatively meaningless.
It's true.
That part cannot be denied. Some people take that as an indictment on Justin Jefferson. Seifert loses his mind when people even broach the subject of trading him. And I'll defend it to that extent that I don't think it's any kind of a statement of recklessness about not realizing how good he is. It's back to, if you don't have anybody who can get him the ball, he can't just go get the ball by himself. A running back can.
Yep.
Right? It just is it's a reminder of just how important the quarterback position is in the National Football League. It's different. And if you look back, we kid a lot over the years about how many diva receivers are out there and how many we've had. Chris Carter was a diva receiver.
Yes, he was.
Randy Moss could be a diva receiver. But in their defense,
Chris Carter is still a diva receiver.
Well, that's true.
And that's not a rip, but that's how he thinks.
In their defense, I think part of that is what I'm just got done talking about. We're stuck. If we could take the ball from center ourselves, we would, but we can't. So it's got to get in our hands, and we are utterly dependent on the ability of our quarterback to pull the string on a pass and layer it in every once in a while. So that's why I said it was yesterday, the day before. I'm convinced that if it's another sort of gap year at quarterback for the Vikings, I would be shocked if JJ quietly didn't say, as in that JJ, Justin Jefferson, not J-Mac, that he would want to go. They'd say, I gotta start looking around because time's a wasting for me. Dan, do you find it kind of interesting that the 2 referees for the Canada-Finland game were from Canada? Is that confirmed? I've had a few people say that. I don't know. Does that mean they were cheating? I have no idea.
Well, honestly, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's an interesting move if so. even for the appearance of impropriety.
Do we have an injury? Did they just show somebody going to the locker room?
I don't know. I was looking at you again.
Yeah.
Your TV is kind of in your line of sight. I have to work for mine. I have to literally ignore you to look at my
straight
TV.
Up.
I know, but you're over here. You're to the right.
True. Yeah.
And you're usually looking that way. Yeah, see, you're on a swivel.
Yeah, my neck's
I'm
all
doing my
screwed up
best
at
to try
point.
to focus on you.
Yeah. Oh, thank God. Somebody needs to. Could you possibly trade troubled star Addison to the 49ers for Mac Jones, maybe get a draft pick from them? Well, that's an interesting proposal. Maybe. Maybe the Niners think Addison just needs, you get him in the right place. We really like his talent. I don't know. I mean, the question of the Niners is, do they want to trade? How adamant will they be about not trading Jones as the backup? I don't have any idea. I think all this stuff is going to heat soon, right? Because is Combine next week?
It's got to be pretty quick.
It's within the next week or two, isn't it?
It's late Feb.
And and I know that's where all the jackals assemble, the National Football Media jackals. So there's going to be all kinds of stuff flying around. We're going to have a lot more, I think, at least speculation, if not facts, regarding what the Vikings' plan might be or who they might be talking about at the quarterback position.
To your point, remember the Combine was where we had the infamous Calcutta Clipper weather change from KOC at the podium to KOC on the NFL Network regarding Kirk Cousins. Do you remember that?
I don't remember. Refresh my memory.
180-degree turn in terms of his optimism on Cousins.
Oh, you're right. I do remember that.
Yes. We love Kirk, and I'm paraphrasing all of this, but we love Kirk. We blah, 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 blah. Basically, a lot of people thought, okay, maybe they'll get some stuff done. And then he joined the NFL Network guys over the weekend, and they asked him about Kirk, and he looked like he knew, because he obviously caught wind that something was going on. His attitude about the whole thing.
He got a signal from
It's like the North Shore weather, where it's nice, and then all of a sudden it's just raining and nobody knows why. That's what I remember about Indy a couple of years ago.
Well, you're right about that. Couple more texts. Do you find it? Oh, I mentioned the Canada-Finland game. I don't even know if that's true. I'm not obsessed with officials like you guys are.
Slovakian fans are ready to get out of there.
Are they?
Now. Yeah, they're looking forlorn.
Well, can you blame them? I don't know how you think otherwise, to tell you the truth. Oh, do you buy this logic? Let me see if I can find it. No, that's another trade. J.J. McCarthy, not Justin Jefferson. When KOC stopped channeling Brad Childress and coached the quarterback's strength instead of running his precious system, J.J. did fine. Went 4-0 with a quarterback rating of 98. The problem with J.J. is more likely a lack of durability rather than ability. That's from Dr. Mike. Well, there's some truth to that. When did he go 4-0? Well, first of all, the last game doesn't count. Sorry, it just doesn't. It's just wipe it out of your mind. It doesn't have any impact
against
whatsoever.
Green Bay. You're talking about,
yeah, the one, that was the Green Bay played nobody in that game. 4-0 for Boudreaux. I guess that's possible. I don't even remember the 4 victories.
We beat Dallas. We beat the Giants. We beat the Lions.
Yeah,
and
Dallas.
We beat the Packers. Right?
And actually, I do remember the Detroit game too. Was Detroit trying in that game?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they needed it.
We played great that game.
Yeah, we did. That was actually a good game.
That was a great game.
Was that the Christmas game?
Oh, you know what? No, I'm thinking about the one on the road where we played well, too. That was a McCarthy game, wasn't it?
Yeah, you're right. There have been a couple. I'm not sure I came away from that. I still have a hard time in total coming away from that, even with that I guess you could say incremental improvement, thinking that we're set. And I think the proof of that, forget us, the proof of that is the organization, by every account, has determined and decided that they have to bring in another quarterback to compete for the job. So that would tell me that even internally, where they have every reason to be stubborn about it, they think there's a need to bring in somebody else for insurance. Now, some of that you could argue is about durability and not necessarily performance, but I think it's probably a combination of both of those things. Do we know what Wexler thinks about J-Mac? I don't remember what I think we did ask him about J-Mac.
Yeah.
And I don't remember what he told us.
I don't either. I'm sure
idea.
He'll refresh us when we have him on.
Yeah, that's true. That's a ways off, but it's for you. It'll be draft time before you know it, right?
It's crazy.
I mean, it's fast.
The combine even being next week is hilarious.
It is.
We say it every year, but it's wild.
As we go to pause here for our first 4 o'clock hour break, did the shutout just get broken up? Did we just give up a goal?
Yep.
Looks like we did. I think we're still in pretty good shape. 15 minutes to go. USA 5, Slovakia 1. The 5-0 shutout has unfortunately been ruined. Stay tuned.
Fan.
Yourself as a great tariff mind?
No, not at all.
I can remember Dalewood Junior High School, Chattanooga, Tennessee, being a member of the debate team. So this would have been either 7th or 8th grade, I think, possibly 9th. The 3 lost years in Chattanooga, Tennessee of my childhood. And the debate was, are tariffs good? And you were sort of assigned your position, your side of it, right? Whatever the idea is, no matter what you personally think, you have to argue for one side. And the side I was assigned to argue was in favor of tariffs, that they serve an important purpose. And I was devastated because we lost the debate. I mean, I worked my ass off researching, looking stuff up, the whole bit, just bitter. And I remember the first name of the guy who was on the other team, who was a friend of mine. Jimmy was his first name. I don't remember his last name. And I remember after, and I don't know if the teachers decided who won, whatever, but we lost to Jimmy and his group. I think it was 3-3. And after the result came in, Jimmy says to me, you guys did a good job arguing it because you know what? The truth is tariffs are a necessary evil. And right there, I was mad at myself because it was a brilliant argument that I don't think we argued. So he's saying it is what it is. We all understand what the term is, necessary evil. It's in my head again because there's a little bit of news in Washington, D.C. on the tariff front that may have gotten some of your attention. Certainly got the attention of the President of the United States and the VP. More on that later. Dateline Washington, Wall Street Journal account. President Donald Trump's global tariffs are illegal. The Supreme Court ruled Friday in a stinging repudiation of a signature White House initiative. The 6-3 decision, and by the way, that's another thing. You know who Smerconish is, Michael Smerconish? Very accomplished.
Gerald Posner brings him up a lot.
National talk show host. He does a lot of stuff for CNN. He's got a show, I think, on CNN. I've always wondered if he was gettable. I have a hunch he'd be pretty hard to get, but I think he's very good. I put him in the classification of a guy who follows the story and is capable of ripping sharks and or jets. But he said when he saw the headline that said 6-3, he assumed without knowing what that meant was, well, all 6 so-called conservative justices went for Trump. Well, of course, the dirty little secret is it was a 6-3 decision by a conservative court against Trump. And 3 of the justices, quote-unquote conservatives, piled on with 3 others. That's the decision, why the decision was 6-3 against the president. It was written, the decision, by Chief Justice John Roberts. It removes a diplomatic tool that Trump has aggressively wielded to remake U.S. trade deals and collect tens of billions of dollars from companies importing foreign goods. The ruling, they write, didn't address whether the government will have to pay back the tariff revenue it's already collected. The court's silence on the issue created a new scramble as companies look to assert their rights, while a defiant Trump warned that he had no plans to retreat and would impose a new global 10% tariff based on other legal authorities. We're going forward, Trump said. We'll be able to take in more money as well. The ruling marked the first time the Supreme Court has definitively struck down one of Trump's second-term policies. In other areas, the court's conservative majority has granted Trump broad latitude to deploy executive power in novel ways, but a majority of justices, 3 conservatives and 3 lefties, said he went too far in enacting his most sweeping tariffs without clear authorization from Congress. To no one's surprise, I don't think. And the president did what he always does: weak-minded individuals, foreign influence. What was the other one? Families of several of the conservative justices should be ashamed
not having the courage to do what's right for our country.
Yeah, it's none of it's surprising. But I actually found myself even more offended by what the VP said, J.D. Vance. Today, the Supreme Court decided that Congress, despite giving the president the ability to, quote, regulate imports, didn't actually mean it. This is lawlessness from the court, plain and simple. This is lawlessness from the court, plain and simple. To which a number of people have said, the court literally decided the law. That's what the court's job is to do. You may not love it, but that's their job. The lawlessness is to violate the courts. Again, I get it. He's got to be Trump's lickspittle. He's got to be his toady. But you just shake your head sometime. And not surprisingly, I mean, it wasn't like I expected he was going to surrender. And look, I have been just as capable and willing of lauding the Supreme Court when it has attempted to check the power of Joe Biden, as it did on a number of significant occasions in the last term. This shouldn't be about whether it's your guy or your side or not. It really should not. But this is, regardless of where you are on it, a huge decision. Now, the practicalities of it, what it's really going to mean, that's all the difficult and challenging stuff yet to work out. But there's no question that this is getting all the coverage that it deserves. And to the question of whether the president has the ability to regulate imports, one court observer wrote it this way: Trump was not regulating imports. He was imposing massive new taxes on the American people under the false impression that he was somehow punishing foreign powers by doing so. Only Congress has the power to tax, not Trump. SCOTUS was not ambiguous, and he can't go break the law again using a different tariff statute. Lower courts will excoriate him for that, and this time there won't be any stay coming from SCOTUS because they have already ruled. So we'll see. The debate is on. It's kind of what one might expect, but it is they call it the Friday news dump. Yeah. This is a pretty big Friday news dump by the highest court in the United States of America. I have one other on this day, and it's you could say to a certain extent it's also court related. Let me see if I can find it. I saved it via X. I thought, here. Let me get the other. We probably should have played the sound on this, but I'll just read it. This is the president today as well during his reaction briefing. The court has been swayed by foreign interests and a political movement far smaller than people would ever think. It's a small movement. I won by millions of votes. We won in a landslide with all the cheating that went on. It never stops, and it probably never will. On this date, in 1956, so that's 44 plus 26, 70 years ago today?
Yes.
Even I think that math's right. 44 and 26 is 70.
Yep.
On this date in 1956, and it did have eventually very much legal consequences and a result. Civil rights activists Martin Luther King Jr., Joanne Robinson, Rosa Parks, and the Reverend Ralph David Abernathy were arrested for organizing the Montgomery bus boycott. One of the most effective forms of protest in the history of the country. 70 years ago today. And, there's always this thing about, well, the protests in Minneapolis, were they calculated? Were they planned?
Were they organized?
Go back and look at what happened. What happened in Montgomery wasn't sort of like, we're going to get a couple people on a bus and see what happens. No, it was very purposeful.
Right.
It was, how can we go about bringing the national attention to this story that we can, and how can we put ourselves in the best position in terms of the courts of the land to end this nonsense, to legally end this nonsense. It was extremely well thought out and well organized, and remains one of the most significant historic moments in the long-standing civil rights movement in the United States of America. Somebody said also that Trump accused the justices as being disloyal. Not surprising. They just put a Trump, which federal office, huge building. They just put up
big banner,
like a 7-foot or 7-story tall.
That was
Trump
real
mural banner. That's real. We'll have to double check what part of the government it's on. It's on a prominent building in Washington that was just unfurled.
Yeah.
Well, so yeah, in his mind, that's he thinks he's king, man. I mean, I'm sorry. I'll say again to the Trump people, I'm not trying to make you mad. I'm not trying to lose you, but I'm sorry if this is what your guy's doing. Believe me, I'd rather not talk about it. I'd rather not bring it up. I really would. But he's doing it. So I think most of us are then obligated to, one way or another, respond to it. And today is worthy. It's not just, like I said, the court ruling, and it's not illegal to disagree if you're president of the United States with a court ruling. It's back to how you do it and the wording that you use and the martyrdom and kingdom that you assign to yourself at the same time as well. That's the issue at this point. And the VP, to me, is I'm embarrassed for him. And by the way, he's a big shot. Which law school did he graduate from? He's a big shot guy.
Wasn't it Yale?
I think it was Yale.
Yeah.
He knows better, but it doesn't matter. He can't help it because he's got an assignment, and he continues to fulfill it each and every day. Bottom of the hour break. I have no idea what's coming up next. We'll give you an update on USA Olympic hockey. We're on our way to the gold medal game. Might that lead to a visit with Billy Guerin live from Italy? Stay tuned. Should I go ahead and text Guerin now? 2 minutes and change to go. USA 6, Slovakia 2. It's a laugher, but I'm trying to think of the best strategy to convince him to come on with us before we wrap things up at 6:30. So do I wait until the game ends, or am I better off actually texting him again now before he's going down to the locker room? Presuming, again, he's watching from whatever his perch is. Because I'm afraid once he goes down to the locker room level, he's not going to have his phone out as much.
Yeah, but I mean, really, he probably won't check his phone until he gets on the bus back to the hotel or something.
You don't think so?
No, and right now, with 2 minutes left as we watch, the game's probably over.
That's
by the time you get it to all the satellites.
Yeah, you're right.
And all the streaming.
And I'm going to text him now.
Oh, Slovakia just scored twice. 6-4. I'm kidding.
That's not even funny.
Getting tight.
Yeah, it's really tightening up, isn't it?
We have a better chance of getting Guerin than we do Russo. We know that.
Congrats
Oh, what are we doing here, though? Kachuk's getting in a fight. Oh, he just punched a guy. Don't do that.
What's the deal?
Come on. Come on.
It's turned into a brawl.
Don't text him now.
No, I can't text him now.
You better delete that.
Right.
I'm glad we stopped.
Right, and just in the nick of time.
What are we doing?
Would you call this smart?
No.
Well, first of all, the ref's not doing a very good job of keeping them apart.
Now, look at Faber's in there. We're going to lose him for the season.
Let me guess. Another Canadian official, referee, not basically making sure that the Slovakian can get in a couple extra shots just to get our guy going.
Right. Yeah, he probably has a Connor McDavid poster in his room.
That was not well handled at all.
What are we doing?
And the problem is, if you're Slovakia, you got nothing to lose now.
No one cares.
Right? You can get three of our players are thrown. Cernak's thrown out. Doesn't matter because we're done anyway.
Yep. Cernak was instigating. Because Kachuk hit him.
Little chippy. Yeah.
Good check.
Now they're just kind of in a scrum.
Just get out of there.
Yeah, you're right. Get out
of there. God, hockey players sometimes
they can't. It was Kachuk could throw the first punch, right?
Yeah,
he did.
Yeah.
And then 81 escalated it. There's no question about that.
Yeah,
but it's like
he's getting tossed.
Yeah.
Oh, now Kaprizov ran on the ice. He was just there watching. What are we doing?
Jumping over the pile. Don't get people going. They're too paranoid about it. 7:10 a.m., you're right. U.S., Canada, gold medal game. They put it up on the screen. The game's not over. I got to break it to you. Although it would seem to be safe. Is it 6-2 right now?
6-2 with like 90 seconds left.
It would seem to be a fait accompli. So we'll have, Canada versus U.S. women's hockey final. Canada versus U.S. Men's.
Let me ask you this. I think I know the answer.
Mm-hmm.
That the U.S. has advanced to the gold medal game. Is it a successful Olympics for Bill Guerin as general manager?
It's a great question. Well, again, it kind of depends. If you accept the premise that Canada is loaded beyond belief,
right?
Even with the one significant injury, then you say it's not a failure.
Maybe that's the best way to put it.
Now, what my guess is it's going to depend more on how they play. Mm-hmm. If you lose to Canada 4-3 or, one goal game and you're competitive throughout it, then I think it's even less likely that people are going to say you failed. If you get blown out, then I think there's going to be more of that conversation that we didn't just lose, we weren't even competitive.
Yeah,
we get it that Canada's better, but Canada shouldn't be 5 goals better than us.
Because I just think about the leading up to it, the conversations about you got Sweden and Finland and all these teams.
Yes, that's true.
That
there were other legitimate teams,
and there are on the men's side probably more so than the women. Where it's deeper is what is kind of my point.
Correct.
And there are more potential landmines that you had to go through. And, they go through Sweden and, Slovakia didn't give them much today.
No, that's 100% true. So I don't know that I really think in the end it'll have a lot to do with how they play in the title round.
Because they can kind of play the role of the Canadians on Sunday that the women did.
That's true.
Everybody expects Canada to win.
I mean, you can't change the story now. If everybody going in, including Louis, said Canada's absurd.
Yeah.
They're just so good and so deep and so star-studded that it's hard to argue making them the favorite, then you can't change that story now. Now, I guess you could change it if you say, but Canada has looked more vulnerable than they were supposed to.
They really have.
So
in the medal round in particular.
If they're vulnerable to 2 other teams but don't look vulnerable against us, then again, once more, there'll probably be more pushback. So it's in the books. 6-2 is indeed the final. U.S. pretty much dominating start to finish.
So with the 7:10 Sunday morning puck drop time, have you talked to Blakemore about what time he's planning to leave his house?
You're unbelievable.
I know, it's too easy. I know, I can't leave him.
You just can't leave him alone.
Because he wants to watch the game. Well, I should tell you, he's going to be, how you were asking me questions about the game, and I told you I was locked in on you? Especially if it's close, you may as well just do the Mystery Science Theater 3000 for the whole.
Almost going to have to, yeah.
Because he's going to be so spun up about it.
Yeah, completely.
He loves it, which I get. Because I've done that before with like Wimbledon finals and stuff when I would do the cake show and everything, and I'd be totally distracted.
Well, I guess, by the way, on Slovakia, they do have something to play. They have to play in the bronze medal game.
Yeah,
right?
they do, but
now that it doesn't have the same impact.
Yes,
but it's not like
kind of minimizing that.
They're done playing necessarily. So, a dominant performance for sure.
Yeah, we were good today.
Jack Hughes would look real good in green here with his brother.
Mm-hmm.
He's not. That texter is not the first to say it.
You think Billy's been saying it like every time they're on the bus? No, you guys look good together.
No question about that. No question about that.
Look at that flag behind Tirico right now. That is cool. It's hockey sticks painted as the American flag.
Oh, that is impressive. That's very impressive.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
That's a nice piece. I wonder who gets that when the Olympics are done.
That's sharp.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah. I bet, maybe it'll be an auction item.
Probably.
That's what it should be. That is a very nice. They got you got to have the fireplace in the background. You got, it's Winter Olympics.
Yep.
Does anybody ever do a fireplace for a Summer Olympics background?
Never.
Doesn't fit. You need that cozy.
He looks like he's in a chalet.
That chalet feeling. That's exactly what I was going to say.
They got the firewood over his left shoulder.
That's what you're looking. Oh, look at the, what do you call to the right? The
curling?
Curling. What
the
do you
rocks,
call?
The stones.
They had 3 rocks, didn't they?
Yeah, they had the stones up there. Yep.
Yeah.
What was that place that they just showed? That little square where the train went through that little bridge thing? That's really cool.
I'm not a great Milano Cortina mind. I've never.
God, it does look like a fun place.
I've never been to Italy.
Me neither.
Everybody says that's.
I've never left the continent except the Bahamas.
Yeah, we've talked about that. I think you need to sooner or later. I'm sure you will one of these decades. Maybe does U.S. women, or actually Gopher women's basketball, do they have any tournaments in Europe coming up?
No, they do like international trips once every 4 years. But I think I think this staff likes to keep it more local.
Yeah.
And I usually don't get invited on those because I really don't have a purpose. We don't do the games.
What else do we have left?
In the Olympics?
Winter Olympics. We're winding it down now, are we not?
Yeah, we are.
I know there's still more stuff going on.
There's more curling.
This weekend. But I think we're...
There's more curling because curling never ends. I said that on Enough Said tonight. I'm probably going to get some emails about that.
What did you say, Ron?
That there's just so much curling.
Oh, curling, yeah.
Curling just never ends.
Yeah, and Enough Said you were not good to the curling community, and even Lori seemed offended.
We've got... so tomorrow we've got more curling. We've got some bobsled. We've got some cross-country ski cross, not cross-country skiing. We've got some aerial skiing. I got some cross-country skiing coming up. So a few more things.
Real quick, from the A section, we were talking about the tariff story earlier. Did you see this? Remind me to try to get to the Orson Welles story later, too. But this kind of flew under the radar because there's just been so many other things going on. This story appeared in the Star Tribune. I'll just read a couple sentences to this. This is related to the Department of Human Services, the much maligned Department of Human Services in the great state of Minnesota. Minnesota officials are touting a recently released review of billing across the state's social services as a key step in identifying and improving the systems that allowed widespread fraud. But the long-awaited third-party audit was heavily censored by the Department of Human Services, and officials have refused to share an unredacted version with lawmakers as they enter a legislative session that promises to focus on the embattled agency's struggle with fraud. That is frustrated state lawmakers who had hoped the full report prepared by United Health Group's subsidiary Optum could offer a roadmap for policy changes to prevent misconduct in Medicaid program. The complaints add to mounting criticism of the Social Services Agency as it struggles to rehabilitate its reputation. And there's quotes of disappointment from both DFLers and Republicans as well. While headings are, this is from Steve Elkins, DFLer out of Bloomington. While headings are visible, blacked out sections block many important details. They are identifying in the parts that you can read that there are a combination of technical issues and policy issues. So if a lot of it is policy related, there's probably things in state law that need to be corrected. It kind of speaks for itself, right? Now, the claim is that the redactions have to do with trade secrets from the agency's business partners and security information that could jeopardize the state's ability to safeguard taxpayer money from wrongdoing. But it's the classic case of, is there a sweet spot here, a middle ground here? Because as it stands now, apparently there's so much redacted that you're back to, well, how in the hell can we respond to it? How can we in government use enough of this information to learn from it? Because the whole point of we're commissioning this thing to try to get information. And how proud can you be of this review if people really can't understand it because so much has been blotted out or redacted from it? I did note there was a good spot here that got my attention in the story. At the news briefing, there was a startling finding from the review. 90% of claims that Medicaid-funded autism intervention providers, this isn't Feeding Our Future scandal, this is the autism scandal, 90% of claims that Medicaid-funded autism intervention providers billed the state over a 4-year period veered from acceptable standards.
Veered.
90%. 9 out of every 10. The autism treatment program is one of several that stand out in the Optum review for suspect claims, which the agency said doesn't necessarily indicate fraud. Here's the kicker. Optum estimated that $1.03 billion could be recovered if the agency modernized its policies, though the report notes that the figure isn't necessarily a measure of confirmed misconduct. The Star Tribune works overtime always to remind people that they have only found a far less money lost in terms of confirmed fraud than the figures that have been thrown out by the people who have actually done the work on it, like the the gone but not forgotten Joe Thompson, who's moved on to better things. There are some interesting quotes here from a guy named Matt Elling, the founder of Public Record Media, a nonprofit committed to obtaining government documents through public records requests. He says he's not buying the redactions to a state statute that protects entities from releasing info going back to security or trade secrets being revealed. Elling noted that some redacted sections appear to have little to do with sensitive information, including Optum's assessment of the social services agency's claims review process and a high-level summary of system weakness. None of that is security information or implicates the security of state systems or practices. The fact that there's concerns or allegations raised in this time where we've seen literally billions of dollars in fraud should be available to the public. As he says, if you got a report full of redactions that could offer guidance for reform, if you can't understand what the regulator's doing, you can't understand how the regulator may be failing in its oversight. And it clearly is failing if you look at the amounts of fraudulent activity that are happening. It kind of like went under the radar. I don't think it should because we got a lot of other stuff that we're thinking about and talking about, but it's definitely worthy of a minute or two. 64686 is the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line. The word on the street is Lavelle is not coming in because he's working hard as we speak. He's claiming that he's working hard on his Sunday column. Is that the reason that he gave you?
Yes. It's a Loons column, too. It's a soccer column.
Why?
I was wondering if that would be your reaction. It was certainly mine.
Does he? Well, we'll ask him. I guess we can ask him at the bottom of the hour, is what you're saying.
Well, they signed the one player that's like a huge global star.
Is he?
Yeah. He's got like 50 million Instagram followers. He does.
Case closed. Well,
that's big enough.
Yeah, but is he? This is another example. Is he a star in our world because we're so starved for any kind of star in soccer?
Yeah.
Or is he a real soccer star in the prime of his life, prime of his career? That's what I'm asking.
I think that's a fair question. That's a good question for Lavelle at 5:30.
Not? Yeah, it's one of many questions that we would go with. So,
man, they go quick to Jeopardy here on Care 11.
I'm going to text Garen now. Let's see real quick before we go to break here. I still got a few minutes. So what do I say? Congrats. I always say.
Do you mean it? Or is it just like the insincere congrats?
Congrats, my boy.
That's usually what you would say.
Dominant. I'm going to say dominant performance.
I think you're laying it on too thick.
Is that you think you'll see right through that?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. He's not here for your BS. He's not here for your small talk. He's Bill Guerin.
I'm going to say, can we call between now?
Just give him the hotline and say call whenever, and we'll throw you on.
All right, that's what I'll do. Yeah, call the hotline.
You remember it?
I got two numbers, but maybe I'll say call it the hotline at your leisure, or is that too open ended?
Yeah, because he might call like 10.
I'll say so we can pop you on.
Yeah, call the hotline if you have a few minutes in the next.
Here's what
90.
I'll say. I'll say we'll keep it brief. Of course, he'll know that's a lie. But I'm going to say it anyway. We'll keep it brief. And yeah, I'll wait to the break here because I can't remember which is the best hotline number. I know one of them. Aren't there two of them?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, then I'll wait if you think there's one better than the other. It would be great to get them.
It'd be awesome.
We did talk about this. Like I said, again, it's a pressure job because especially when he largely went the way they did regarding who was in and who's out. I mean, the minute you do it, you're going to be second guessed if it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
Right. Unless they don't even get to the gold medal game. Well, that's where, to an extent, I think he's pretty safe.
That's my argument.
Unless they get killed.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, right now we're in the afterglow of a dominant victory to get to the gold. That's now. Believe me, if on Sunday they get blown out, whatever goodwill there's been about getting here up this time, I think it evaporates pretty quickly the way it works. So, to his credit, as he told us before he left, I don't think he's wired in a way that he's brooding over it or would be brooding over it. I think he said it. You do what you do. People can think what they want to think. But if I sit here and wallow in misery or what if or worried about what the blowback I'm going to get, then you do kind of defeat enjoying any of the experience.
Yes.
And my guess is he's a guy that's going to, as much as you can, try to enjoy the experience. Now, I will be curious to find out what the repercussions are to the brawling late, if there's going to be any sort of punishment involved there. Have we seen anything online yet responding to that? Has Russo had anything?
I haven't been on Twitter to look.
All right, I'll look to see what Russo has to say about that. So in any case, we'll stick with Laval by phone. We'll talk plenty of Winter Olympics with him. Maybe we will talk with some soccer or talk about some soccer with him as well. Bradshaw and Bryant, KFAN text line 64686. Keep the text coming. Top 5 at 5 will include what?
The Wolves are back. What's
tonight?
their mood? Yeah, right after us at 6:30.
On the Fan?
On the Fan.
I'm excited.